Hello, everyone.
Hello, Lucas.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Very well.
Okay.
How are you?
Well, not bad, not bad. This project is fun, actually. So yeah, I like it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. How about you, Hassan?
Hmm.
Good morning. I'm fine.
Good morning.
By the way, is that a huge mistake if I download this JSON file? Because sometimes there's a some kind of a disturbance in connection with,
Yeah, you
with the
can do
database.
that. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you can
So,
work
yeah.
on a copy offline. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just importing that in the app.jsx.
Yeah, make total sense. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's easier if I'm being honest. Yeah.
totally, 100%.
Yeah, cool.
Let's me down. Very good. Hello, Gauri. Oh, I in the wrong view. That's why I cannot see everybody. There you go. Yeah, much better. Let me see real quick a problem that Richard. Sure. Okay, that's super cool. I didn't know that Fortnite has an API. I started to read.
Yeah, I think that was in the video that you referred to us.
Oh, which one?
Like, I think this was
In the red
one-
router?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was okay. That was last year ago. That's why I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so the lad is using it.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, cool.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Are you done, Sif?
Yeah. What's my
What happened to your 45 minutes submission?
Let's see on Monday.
But he's only working like 1 minute per hour. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
it's
That's
still
good.
good.
Don't overwork yourself.
Yeah.
So we have 18. Yeah, we can wait 5 more minutes. It's okay. Hello, Lee. See, we have one page, 24. Hello, Kalpana. Else is here. So nobody gonna speak about the elections of the.
About?
No
Oh,
one's
the
gonna-
elections.
Yeah, like yesterday was quite heated. We need to fill the
Yeah.
silence
Biden,
for the next 5 minutes because I can honestly not say, I cannot do the normal trick of 5 minutes or 35. I actually need to wait the 5 minutes because this is a delay on me. So
It's crazy. Regardless of who wins, the country is really like 50-50.
yeah,
It's the country is really divided in terms of who they want. But at the moment, it's 264 for Joe Biden, 214 for Donald Trump. So 50.4% for Biden and 48% for Trump.
Are you including Arizona?
That's still coming in.
So
mhm.
what's the 10? So did you say
Oh.
54?
Hello, Gabriel.
Eduardo?
Hello.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
hello. You have a lecture now?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Okay. Okay. No, I was confused because I ordered. Okay, but wait, did it disappear from my schedule or something? Because
Oh, no. We are only gonna cover a really small topics that were missing.
okay. It's like
Roughly
extra,
3.5
extra.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Oh no, because I was having my mentor meetings here, and I was like, oh, but I ordered like I booked them already, but in that case, I would move them forward. No problem.
Okay.
So,
Well, if
right.
somebody needs to go, we are going to do something optional. And by the way, this is super mega hyper ultra crucial important.
Yeah, they're included.
All the knowledge for delivering the project was completed yesterday. The stuff that we're gonna do right now is just how to publish it on Firebase. It's small. It's something that we're gonna in the super small, and we can use the rest of the time to answer questions related to the YouTube project, not the other one, but the YouTube one. In case that you're using that as a practice, and if you feel stuck in that one, we can use that this session as a super mega hyper fancy normal TA session. But there is nothing that we're going to cover today that is like obligatory to complete the other project. So if somebody needs to go, it's totally okay. You can drop out. You don't even need to tell, just literally disconnect and it doesn't matter.
No, but these people want knowledge. They want more knowledge. So
Oh.
no one is gonna drop out.
There is no space left.
It's only going to be available for view on the platform, right?
Sorry, what?
It'll be available after this on the
Yeah, of
platform.
course, always.
Look at Dux.
Okay.
So let's wait 1 more minute because we actually have a lot of people here. Let me this one because these are the answers for the project and I don't want to show it as soon as it's share the screen, so let me minimize this one. There you go. So perfect, we are in 9:35, sorry for the delay, and let's get started. What we are gonna cover today is the missing pieces of this week lecture. We're gonna cover the React build. What is a React build? During this week, we have been using npm start to create React projects, and as you can see it, you can open it in using localhost. And localhost, as the name literally implies, is a server set up inside your computer. And the server is running, of course, Node.js. But but if you go to the public folder inside the React project, you can see that the index.html file is literally empty. You open it and it's a blank page. The reason being is because you need to render the files, and to render the files, we need to do a special process called create a production build. So let's use the YouTube video site example that we just built to see it in action. So let me close this project and open. And documents is video site 2. This is the one that we just finished building yesterday with the search bar functionality and so on and so forth. Before we start, we verify that it's working. So we do the normal npm start, and remember, if you have this tab called npm scripts, you can actually, let me just go back, if you can actually avoid using the terminal at all. In fact, each time that you clone a project, there is a nice trick to avoid using the terminal at all. You can right click inside package.json and it says run install. So this basically is the graphical user interface equivalent of putting npm install each time that you run a project and need to create the node modules folder. And this one is npm start, and this is npm build, and I will explain this one right in a second. So I just want to double check that the website is working. Perfect. Search for functionality. Okay. Perfect. We know that the enter key doesn't work. We explained how to implement that on your own, but so far everything is working. So we are ready to publish this on our website. But as I mentioned before, if I open this in Finder and I open it here, nothing happens. So this public folder is not the public folder that we were using for Firebase. This public folder is only the files, the basic HTML template that React will inject the code once the production code is ready. So you usually don't mess with this one. Maybe if you want to change the title, you can change the title here. But after we finish the topics I have in this sticky note, please remember. Oh, actually no. Let me put it here. How to change the title from React itself. Yeah, this is a nice one. So in case I don't mention it, please remind me to teach this one. So there is a way to actually change the title, this title without touching the index HTML. So basically, you only use this folder if you want to change the icon of the project and the image for the iOS and Android. So that's it. This folder basically is, I repeat, this is not the Firebase public folder. Forget about that. We are going to do that in another way. So with that explanation of this folder out of the way, let's do the command build. Remember, I can use this one and press the play button, or I can use the terminal. I just npm build. So npm build car with no arguments. Oh, and run, I think it's this one. Run string build. npm. Yeah, creating an optimized production build. So this one is the one that will create the project for us. And you can see that already a build folder just appeared. It's being created right now. Oh, it was compiled right now. Let's check it out, this folder real quick. We see another index.html. This is the real one that we are going to use. You can see the same assets that they were in public are copy and paste here. And we can see a static folder. And we can see the CSS compiled. Notice the difference between the source CSS file and this one. We can see multiple subfolders, one for each item. As we mentioned during the CSS tutorial, how to organize files, and then the lecture, the article Atomic Design. But we can see that there is actually one file, because this one is a map of this one. So basically, this has extra information for this one. So this is the only file in the CSS, and we see that everything is in a single line. You may say that this is super disorganized on purpose, but for a computer, it doesn't matter if this is a vertical space or horizontal. The computer can read this code without any issue because it's actually CSS code. You have this one, this button property, or the properties in line until we reach the end of the curly brace. So you can actually take your time and start to organize it without any issue. It's super difficult to read for a human, but for a computer, it's super easy. And this has the advantage that because it doesn't have any white space, this is actually has less characters on the screen. Thus, this file takes less space in the server. Thus, it's faster to download for the user. So this is a nice optimization that Webpacks do for us. Let's see the JavaScript file. And now we see a bunch of files with the different names. And this is so important. Remember last week when when you were building your website in Firebase and you wanted to make some changes and then nothing happened and you needed to delete the cache? Well, Webpack, each time that you render your project, it will change these numbers. So you can see main dot, and this is called a hash number because there is a sequence of random characters, dot chunk dot CSS. So each time that you make a change in your project in React and build it again, you will see a different number. So so your Firebase or hosting or any other hosting site are forced to refresh the content because the files are new, are considered new files instead of an updated version of the existing file. So this helps avoid having cache issues, and it's all fixed by Firebase. Let me try to open this one. Again, same issue. Looks like it is a spaghetti code, but a machine can read this one without any issue. You can see our functions, our return functions, variables, but we never call a variable rn. Again, to optimize the process, Webpack, if you have a variable called information, it will actually rename it to letter A. And if you have a variable called orders, it will become letter B and so on and so forth. So to make it the process smaller, and this optimizes performance. Sorry, download times, not performance. For the machine, it's actually basically the same. So, well, all of this is your project, believe it or not. Your assets, remember, again, the logo type, you can see this hash number. So if you make a change, the hash will refresh and you will not have problems with cache. So, okay, I have this build folder. Now what? This is the folder that I need to upload to Firebase. So let's create a project real quick. Let me close this one. Let me create a project real quick in Firebase so we can actually upload this version. I will use the SDA account this time. We have to work here. Console. I will create a new. This will go. Let's go with SDA video site. I don't care about Google Analytics at this time. Continue. And this will create a project. Just give it 1 second. Perfect. The project is ready. So I go to hosting. Okay, started. We already installed that one, but if you're in a new computer, of course, you need to install Firebase tools. This is so we can see the command line interface of Firebase to access the services. So I can go next, and I will need to log in. I'll copy this one. For my terminal, login. I can clear the terminal with command K. So clear the Firebase login. And let me see if I'm logging with the correct account. I am logging with my personal account at the host. So let me see if I can do Firebase logout. Task force. Yeah, and logout. And Firebase login. It says Firebase open the web. Yes, okay. I will use the software demo timing. Allow. So I'm logged in. Perfect. I will close this one. And it says that I'm successful logging as a Software Development Academy. Perfect. Now I can do Firebase init. and says, I want to use the hosting services. Remember arrow keys and spacebar. Don't use enter, spacebar. So hosting. Now I press enter. Using existing project. By the way, if you see this option, hey Eduardo, you can do it from the console. Why do you teach to use the user interface instead of this one? The problem with create a new project is if you're on your first try, you cannot you put a name that already exists in your first try. You need to start all the process over. In the visual interface, it will say this name is already taken. I will allow you to write just another similar name. And in this one, you need to start the process over again. So it's faster in the for me. It's faster in the visual interface. So, anyways, I will use an existing project. Press enter. I will use video site. This is important. Look at the question. Your public directory is a folder where you actually upload the files. What do you want to use as your public directory? We were using public before for the normal HTML website. We know that the contents are in build. So this is important. If you are working with React, your project files are in the build folder. If you put the public folder, Firebase won't crash, will still work. And when you save your files, it will not work. And then you will complain, why doesn't it work? Why Firebase is not doing what I'm telling it to do? No, the problem is that Firebase is doing exactly what you're telling to do. But you have to understand, Firebase and React has a different standard of what is the final folder for the project. For React, the public folder is just a container of these static files that you're not supposed to modify during the project. And for Firebase, this is the hosted folder. So to avoid this conflict, you need to tell Firebase, no, my finalized project is in the build folder. So you need to write build. So let me go one more time, build. Remember, if you are working with React, you need to change public to build. It doesn't mean that you need to rename this to build. If you rename this to build, you will break your entire React project and you will probably need to start over. Don't touch this folder. Don't delete it. This folder is super important for React, but it's not the same folder public that Firebase is used to use. So just don't mess it up. Put build here and everything will be fixed. And then press enter. Remember, if you see a lowercase y and an uppercase n, that means that the no option is the default one, and that's okay right now. So, and this is another one. So file build in the HTML already exists. Override it? No, because we know that this is the file that React created. So we say no, but luckily the n is in uppercase. That will be the default behavior, so I say no. Perfect, the project is initialized, so go next. And if everything is okay, Firebase deploy. Remember, the folder that Firebase is uploading right now is this one. It's not this one, it's this one. So deploy is complete. We can test it by opening this one. You can use command, click, open this one, and let's see if it's working. And there you go, and it was quite fast. Congratulations, you just uploaded you're hosting your own website using Firebase. So we just tackle these two topics right now. How to make a React build for hosting in anywhere. We're gonna do the Firebase deploy. Perfect. Now we're gonna do something different. Instead of hosting the files in Firebase.
Eduardo.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, of course.
I have several projects in Firebase, and then when I did Firebase init, it said it's not error, but you are initializing an existing Firebase project directory. How can I move to the different project in Firebase? Because I already have one for my portfolio, the CV website. Yeah. So how yeah.
When you do Firebase in, let me see it. Let me click the console. you can do Firebase. Let me see. Let me see what happens. Yeah, and then you go to hosting, and then you can choose the different.
So
Firebase. Yeah,
there's no conflict.
yeah,
or-
exactly. Yeah, let me just see. Just 1 second. Maybe if I delete this one, okay. I delete this ones. Firebase. I delete all the Firebase related folders and start over. Firebase init. Firebase init. And now I'll do hosting. Enter. And I can choose the option. And I will use for this one. I will use existing project. For this one, we will use this one. Build. Yeah, and this one is okay. So we know that this is configured to the SDA Firebase. Sorry, video site, and let me create a new window folder. A new that will be end project folder, new folder, second project. It will is second project. It will be empty, but the only thing that we want to create here is to trick Firebase into uploading this file.
Yeah.
So I will create a build folder, and inside the build I will put a fake index.html. Say file. See fake build. Perfect. So here I will say in the terminal, I will say Firebase in hosting spacebar using an existing project. You can see that I can choose something different. I will use, for example, the SDA project test. And which one I want to use as a build. No, and that's it. So yeah, you can have multiple projects. You can have multiple projects in your Firebase. You can have multiple projects. That's okay. But of course, so let me go for the top. So let's not confusion. So in Firebase, I can have as many projects as I want. You can see it. I have multiple projects. There is no limit of how many projects you want to have. So you can have many projects as you want. Of course, each React project must belong to only to one of these projects at a time. And if for some reason you choose the wrong project for your particular React project, just delete the Firebase files and then start making the process again.
Okay.
Yep. No problem. Perfect. So next, let's go now to the. I wanted to show you how to improve this React website, but instead of using the files in our servers, in one point they actually fill up quite quickly. Let's use a real YouTube videos using a React plugin called React Video YouTube. So basically, this one. Let me show you what we want to achieve. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Let me show you real quick. For example, imagine that you can actually embed the YouTube player inside React. It's actually quite easy. There is a plugin for that. This is the one that we're going to install. So, and this also will teach you how to use components from other developers. We already use a component from other developer that was called the React Router DOM. That was not created by the React itself. That was something another developer said, you know what, I want to be able to switch between pages and read data from the URL. So they created the React Router DOM that we call the router. And this other developer created one plugin, so you can use a React component called YouTube that allows you to just pass the video ID, and that's it. And it's super easy to use. So let's try it right now. Let me close this project because the project is fake. Let me open the video site too. Perfect. And remember, because we are going to experiment with a new feature, you don't go into master. You don't go into master. You do a new branch. In this one, it is at the Firebase. That's include this included the one of including Firebase should have been a different branch. But that was a mistake on my part. So we're going to create branch number 13 called video component, because we are going to use a library called React YouTube to link to actual video IDs. So go to the terminal and we do npm. Oops, sorry. Okay, just one here. Very good. So we do npm install, and we're in a different branch because in case that we fail this and we mess it up the project, we can just go to master and nothing happened. So don't. This is a tip, and please listen, because I remember giving tips for the website for the small website cupcake website. Wow, small website cupcake. I remember giving like 10 tips, and not everybody followed the 10. This is one of the crucial ones. Use branches. So in any case, we have a new plugin installed in the project. You can see it here. So for example, these are the dependencies on a React YouTube site. Of course, React, latest version 17. React DOM is the one that manipulates the web browser. This is, don't be confused with the router DOM that allows you to switch between pages. React Script is maybe a support library. This is the analytics one that we were talking with Sif the other day. And this is a new one that we just installed, React YouTube. This one allows me to embed a real YouTube component player instead of having to host the files in our servers. So we're going to replace this one by the video, but not by this video URL, because if we go to video URL, this is the entire, this is the copy of the video that I actually copied from YouTube. So I will actually make a change here to add a new field called YouTube ID. So I will delete this one, and let's read the instruction. How do we use it? So we need to import YouTube from React YouTube. So this is another component. So I will put, this is not a React course, I would say it's an external component.
Hey, Eduardo, can you increase this font again, please?
Yes, of course, and please always mention that. So don't worry about that. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So I import YouTube for React YouTube. Perfect. And how to use? I use it. It's just YouTube. Let me close it. And remember, if it's correctly imported, you will see this one. Otherwise, you will see any. This one can be a self-closing tag. So there you go. Because we are not gonna, if we are not gonna write anything inside, then there is no need to actually have a wrapper. And let's see, the only parameter that I actually need is this one, the video ID. We can pass a class name, of course. For example, when the video is ready, we can actually, when it's buffered, we can actually run a function. When the video ends, we run a function, and so on and so forth. So, for example, in the other example that I was showing a few seconds ago, like a playlist, as soon as the video was ended, we were running the end function to go to the next video. So you can build something super powerful with this one. So let's pass the video ID, and I don't have the video ID right now, but for example, we can do something super quick. Information. Instead of your URL, I will not delete this key one, just for legacy. So if you navigate between branches, it will not break your project. So I would say video. That is a super long key. And I will go, for example, to this video on YouTube and just copy this video. I will mute my computer. I only need this value. one here. Perfect. And I will copy it over and over here. Let's add a comma. Everything is okay. So I'll add a comma, and there you go. By the way, the reason that I'm adding a comma here is because I'm lazy and I don't want to scroll to the right with a comma, scroll to the left again, just enter, and just, so it's faster to just put the comma here, and then when I save the printer plugin will actually organize it for me. So there you go. There we go. There we go. We're about to finish. There's only 12 registers. And I forgot to put the comma here. There you go. And the last one. There you go. And if everything is working, and see, start. Let's cross the fingers. And if not, let debug it in real time. The string is not defined. Let me see. It's templates. Which line? Let me make it bigger so you can see it. Line 36. Line 36. Video string. Oh, duh. This is a video ID. So we need to pass a new element here. We are not using video URL anymore, but we are using video YouTube. Let me just copy the key. Video YouTube ID. And change it from a string because the string is not defined. And our project is working. And if I click any video, it will go back. If everything works, any video should open the Alicia Keys videos, but this is gonna open from YouTube. Nice. We need to actually just add the CSS class to align this one. Let me see if I can modify my JSON code to actually make it work. So just give me 1 second. YouTube. Remember, if you want to inspect the element, you need to double click because the first time YouTube will hijack the element. So just give me 1 second. This is the body, video player ID, lead ID player. This is the, and yes, at the end, this is an iframe, but with all the security measures in place. So if Google do it, it's because they know what the hell they are doing. So this doesn't have a class. Yeah, div class doesn't have a class. And this has a video class container. So we need to pass a class name, for example, video. Let me modify the CSS. Go to the CSS template, video page, and let me just video page video as a class, not as an element. Oh, there you go. I found it. I actually video in this case is a tag, but our video is not a video tag itself. It's an iframe that contains a video player. So I will say that if I can make the rule apply for both the old code base and for the new one, I would say this rule. So this rule applies to video page, the native video tag, or for the video page, the plugin that has a class called video itself. Let's see if it's working. Okay, it distorts a lot. So I will not be able to share the rule. I need to style it in a different way. I just video page, the video, and say margin, for example, margin 0 auto. See what is happening. Nothing happens. The align center. If not, I will literally just use Flexbox, or I can research how to center this particular item. Video container. I can say video container. Okay, video container. Video container. Display flex. Display flex. And align items, center, specify content, center. Oh, no, because it's an iframe, I will actually need to look it up how to center it up. So I will update the CSS code a little bit later, just to focus on that one. But I just want to show you that you can install React components just by browsing the browser, just by literally browsing for something. For example, if you want a form, React forms, you will find plugins for that, and they work in a similar way. I think a Formic is one of the best. Let me see, this is possibly good, but I remember Lucas sharing one. I think it was Lucas. It was supposed to be the React form. It was this one. Yeah, this one even has a better performance than the other ones. So at the end, it's basically the same. Everything is a library component. There is libraries for buttons and so on and so forth. So this is how you actually start external components that you can use it as you can see it with the normal HTML tag. Sorry, with the normal tag syntaxes of JSX. So let me see the questions in the chat. See. I see a question. Is always built by default in React? The answer is yes. It's always by default. What is the root folder for React? The root folder of the project where we are working will be, if this is my entire project, video site 2 is the name of the folder, the root of the files in React will be source, because this is where you actually find your first file called index.js. This is the entry point. This is where you create the app component we have right here. So source will be the root of the code base, and build is the root of the final compiled files ready to be published on the web. Now, Suda, second question is, correct me if I'm wrong. So whatever we do, any changes, we have to run npm run script build and then Firebase deploy. Yes. Yes, you make a change in your project, you run npm run build, and then when the build is complete, you actually press Firebase deploy. So yes, that's the correct order, correct reason. Suda. There is problems with my voice. It's really cut. I can use another microphone. Yes, I forgot to connect the nice one. So. If the voice is not bad, I can take a 3-minute break until I can fix it. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. I will switch to the other microphone. Yes. Give me 1 second. Looks like it's working. Can you hear me better now?
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Next time, during the optionals, I don't like to set up this one because it's kind of annoying to do it. To be honest, I don't know how it worked on the first try. I think that during some lectures, you actually saw me like moving and plugging the cable or moving around. So I know that the quality is really good because it's a broadcast microphone, but it's quite annoying to set up on a Mac. So for the optionals, I always skip it. But for this one that are in the morning, they're supposed to be mandatory. Yeah, sorry for this one. So, okay, I can do a super mega hyper quick recap of the stuff that we just did because I lose the audio. But we installed our external component. In this case, our external component is called YouTube, that allows me to change the normal implementation that we have in the project from normal videos to
to real YouTube videos. And the intention here was to teach you that basically the React ecosystem is so big that if you need a component for something, you need a component for a form, just write forms React, and you will find something. You need to play a YouTube video, put YouTube React, and you will find a plugin for that. So, and your imagination is the limit. So each time that you need to integrate something, before you build it, there is a strong chance that somebody already built it for you. So this is something super mega good from the React community that no Vue, no Angular, and no Svelte will ever be able to match. The ecosystem is so good in React that there is a external component, because this is not a plugin. This is an external component. That's the correct name. External component. Is second to none. So yeah, we installed a YouTube player just so to mess it up with this one. I didn't initialize it, but I can do it offline later because I need to learn how the structure of the container it is, so I can actually organize a strategy to center the item. And we're gonna merge this one to master. So let me go. Let me commit, install it. YouTube external component, React component. There we go. I will push it to master, so you can see it. And because I didn't delete the video URL key, you can actually use this project in different branches without any issues. I will not merge it to master because all videos point to Alicia Keys, and that doesn't feel like it's a complete project. So this branch exists, it's uploaded in GitHub, you can use it, but I don't feel that the quality of this branch is to a standard that I will allow it to merge it into master. To me, in my case, to be able to merge this one into master, I will need to change the BID to all of the videos. So each video is again an individual video, and I will need to center the video so it looks pretty on the screen. So when that is ready, I will make the merge into master. Meanwhile, it will stay as a beta branch because it's incomplete. As I give feedback to a couple of students, I prefer a project with less features well done than a lot of features half implemented. And this branch right now is half implemented. Has a new feature, so it has more stuff, but the new stuff has lower quality than the previous stuff. Thus, I will not be able to merge into master because we'll go against my quality control policies of less well done is better than more crappy half done stuff. And this one is quite incomplete right now. So I will not merge into master. So yeah, I actually covered the topics that I wanted to cover today, and we were way ahead of time. So if you have any issues with the React YouTube project, you can ask it right now. But I will not ask, I will totally be forward. I will not ask questions about the case study because that's something that part of the challenge is actually to figure it out. But I will answer any questions related to the React YouTube exercise that you're doing. And remember, the React YouTube exercise is for practice. It's not you don't need to complete it. You don't need to show it to me. It's just so you can practice, and you have. And there is in contrast to the package tracking app, where there is no an image of the final project, how it is supposed to look, or worse, there is not a GitHub repository to compare to. In this case, at least you can actually see the final project to relate to, and you can actually see the Git repository to check a code base. So it's a nice practice exercise, but you don't need to complete it because we're not gonna grade it at all. So yeah, questions? Oh, and by the way, thank you, Smita, for asking for the microphone. To be honest, I totally forgot. That was on me. I see no questions. Well, in any case, for the quiz tomorrow, the questions will be related only to React, and so we're gonna make questions about components, questions about hooks, So everything that we covered during yesterday's on Tuesday and Wednesday related to the YouTube website will be the contents of the quiz. Nothing that we saw today, for example, we saw how to build the project will not be asked. It should be asked, but because I didn't put it yesterday, I don't want to actually add the topic. But I will maybe ask that as a bonus question, but it will not be obligatory to answer that one. And then nothing related to the Firebase and the external components was additional knowledge. Maybe we can wrap it up with one more topic after a break. Hello, Felix. If we take a quick 10 minutes break, we can come back and teach one optional topic again, and this one is called Recoil, that allows you to do global state management in React. So for the projects that you have right now in this scope, you don't need it at all. But if you actually manage to find a bigger project, you probably start needing a way to, instead of passing the prop from the app, like we did the YouTube exercise, you probably need to have the state host elsewhere and import it on demand. So we can see that after the break. So is that okay? We can meet back at, let me see, we're about to be in 10:20. So at 10:30, is that okay?
Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Okay.
So see you at 10. Hello, back.
Hello.
Hello. I see a question about React hooks and states. Yeah, I will try to answer that question right after I finish this optional topic called recoil. So long story short, what is recoil? And let me share the screen. Recoil is a library that allows you to handle the global state across components. And to visualize this one, well, let's go super quick to Whimsical, sign in. Development. Forget about this one. And let's see, I have a problem that can arise. JSX. We have the home page, JSX, SX. We have the video page. And then tenemos the search page, JSX. And each one has its own component, has card, JSX, header, JSX, so on and so forth. Video has now it has a YouTube. Now the YouTube external component. So yeah, I actually can literally say YouTube, even if it's not a file, it's an external component. Let's paint it green to differentiate it. It also has the header, sex, because this one is shared across multiple. Let's paint it purple just to make it different. And this one has the header as well. JSX. And it turns out that the card is repeated as well. So this one is also repeated. I'm painting the card purple because I realized yesterday that when we use the search page, we also repeat the card component. So yeah, the card component is shared as well. Let me organize a little bit this one. Right now we are passing, I don't know why the lines look so broken today. Usually the whole thing of this program is that I don't need to organize my elements on the screen. It actually does for me, but they look quite disorganized today. But it doesn't matter. And by the way, I love how I say it doesn't matter, but I actually still fixing it. Yeah, that's an issue on me. Sorry for that. Okay, now it looks how it's supposed to look, or at least it's decent enough. You can see that this is the project that we just built in YouTube. It's quite complex. And the problem is what happens if the project goes even deeper. Imagine if you need to go down further in the line, and you have components. After this one, you have components, and then a component here, then a component here that goes here, this component as well. And the project, and imagine that you need to pass data from here to here. This is how we're actually doing. We take the information. Let's create a small circle. Imagine that this is the information, the JSON file that we have. We load it from here, and it goes through in each page. But imagine that if we also needed to pass to another, and we know that we split this info, that this is an array. Remember, right now this information is an array, and then we just break it down into small items and send it to each card when we render. But imagine that we need to still send the entire information as an array here, 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 and then here, 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 and pass it down as props. And imagine that in one moment you refactor the project and you say, for example, I don't need this component anymore. But this component, and this component moves up, but this component still needs information. And the line of code for passing the prop was for the previous component. So right now you have a problem that this one is disconnected and you cannot, this cannot access the info, and it's lost, the information is lost, and it's started to break down the project. That's something that is become super tedious to debug. So what happened in this kind of scenarios, you need something called the global stage management. What we're trying to say is, instead of passing the information from top to bottom, that actually starts to look like the problem with the DOM. Each time that you needed to add an element on the screen, you needed to go from here to here to here. You just visualize the same problem, but passing information as props. So you can see how annoying and how fragile it is. If actually you have something in the chain, you delete it, and then you lose this one lose access to the information. So to solve this problem, the global stage allows each component to actually subscribe to the information itself without depending on their parents. That's a double-edged sword. Benefit number on the good side is it avoids you to make this passing the prop like this, all using the tree chain, with the fear that if you refactor your project or make a change in the project and you delete a component, this component loses the access to this information, because the information will be independent of the project structure. This is super important. The information will be independent of the project structure. On the other hand, the problem is that everybody will be, in theory, will be able to access information. And if everybody is able to access information, anybody can modify it. And this is the crucial part. Anybody can modify it, and then you probably don't know when your information starts to behave weirdly or showing different values that you wanted to show. You don't know which of the components is trying to make changes that you don't want them to make. So this is a tool. This is not a requirement in every single project. It's just a tool, and it's up to you as a developer to weigh the pros and cons and say, do I want these benefits to the point that I am willing to take this risk, or the other way, are these risks so high that the benefits that I get here are not that important? So, and how do you decide that? It's only by clocking hours. Clocking hours, I mean literally coding projects, finish one project, starting another, making mistakes. Don't worry. To be honest, the only way to actually to be honest, this is something, a small tip. The only way to actually be 100% sure to ace a coding interview is to previously fuck up 3 other coding interviews. So clocking hours. This is a tip that I remember giving to one of my mentees. Just keep clocking hours to keep developing the experience. And in this case, for example, in when to use a global state management or when to just keep using props will become second nature just by having experience. But in any case, I will teach you the tool, but I cannot teach you like a strict set line guideline of when to use it or when not to use it. That will be the only way is that you practice and fuck it up, and then realize, no, if this scenario doesn't work, but in this probably will, and then just you will develop like an instinct on when to use it and when not to use it. But let's get started. So to handle the state in a global way, we use recoil. I created an already during the break. I created a small project. It's not 100% complete. I will just go delete files, and organize projects. Yeah. So in this project, in this one, we'll sorry, let me close this one. This is the one that I'm literally building as we speak. It will be way smaller than this one. What we're gonna build is something like this. We're gonna have app EXX. It will be blue. We're gonna create a component called A component JSX. I will just paint it red so we can see the difference in each component. I just want to make it colorful. Green. So this will be A, B component JSX. This will be C component .gsx. Yep, perfect. I just want to align this line and align this line. There you go, perfect. So the intention is that we're gonna have a piece of information. Imagine the information like this one, floating around. Well, anyways, we'll have this piece of information floating around. We're gonna not pass it as a prop as we did before. Each one will subscribe for this one. In this one, we're gonna include a button. We're gonna include a button component. The button component button will increase a counter here. And because each of these ones is also subscribed to the information to the global state. Sorry, let me go global state. Yes, global state. Everything that happens here, every time that we modify the information here, will be reflected here and here. So that's the quick example that we're gonna build. So right now I'm building the components. This one is the C, the one that has the button. The button will not be a component. That's why I don't paint it in color, because it's just a normal HTML tag. But I will pass the click event. And right now, what we have right now is the training wheels. Oh, by the way, you can use the training wheels for your React project as well. As you can see, all that you learn in CSS is still 100% valid. So don't worry about that. In any case, and how do I did it? In case that you are wondering, is in app.js. In app.js, I have import style CSS, and in style CSS, I have import HTTP the training wheels file without any issues, and then I put it background red just to visualize, and then you can see that our React app doesn't start at here at the bottom. There is one div, that is the div called root. What is this div? This div is here in public. There you go. So you can actually, thanks to the training wheels, you can actually start to visualize your React project in a nice way. So in this case, we have this div, and the H1 is in app, and here we have a grid. This one is empty, and I will put the components in 3 columns, and I will start. And we have the three components here. A has an article with a title, hello from A component, and I will put information, the variable reactive data will put it around here. So it's a small component. Component number B doesn't have a title, it's only a paragraph, and they will have the information around here. And C component is full of lines, horizontal lines. A title C component, all uppercase component, just to make it look different. Component. I remember that you can actually achieve the effect of the uppercase without writing up all caps in CSS, but just for an example, I just did it like this. Click me. Everything in this component will be angry in uppercase. Click me. Click me. This component has personality. Yep. So let's import it, the components. Import slash components slash a component. B C. We're gonna put a here, a component. Huh, it's weird. Oh, because I forgot to actually put this. Okay, this is actually right. I needed to say import a component from. So yeah, that was a mistake on my part. And same with B component. And the automatic imports is working. That's nice. Component. Perfect. C component is not defined. Let me see. Yeah, because that happens for copying and pasting. If after you fix something and still you don't see the changes, just C component. I needed to import the sphere as well. C component. Perfect. It looks garish as hell because I have this background color red, but I just was making that to make sure that it's working. I will say background color white. So perfect. We have the component, and I will make this the grid only just letter, as we can clearly say that this is one component, the article, and then the div has this one, and this one is a section. So each one is look totally different. So you see that there are not just copy paste elements; they are individual components. So one can be a header bar, one can be a footer, can be one can be a video player, and so on and so forth. And this will still work. So okay. Now in the package JSON, let me delete the libraries that we're not using. So when you do npm install, installs faster for you. I'll delete the web vitals. And let's start installing Recoil. So we're gonna do this the Recoil exercise together, read the documentation, because I haven't used Recoil in 2 months, so I don't remember the exact syntaxes, but we are gonna code it as we are discovering it together. To install Recoil, npm install Recoil. That's it. Quite easy. And say inspected token JSON will the person script blah 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 blah. So that means that in the package JSON I actually messed it up. Oh, the comma. I messed up the comma. So let's go again. npm Recoil. And what another Recoil in the package? Okay. I made a super big mistake. I called my project Recoil. So let's fix that. And there is a name conflict. So yeah, that was a stupid mistake on my part. So I will call this one Recoil exercise, literally. And there you go. Problem fixed. I probably need to fix the name somewhere else as well. So let me move the Zoom tools. Okay. So I will just look it up for the word Recoil because I need to rename my project. So my project is called Recoil, and now will become Recoil exercise. There you go. And here as well, Recoil exercise. So remember, never name your project the same name as the library that we're gonna practice. That's a really bad idea. And welcome to hello Recoil exercise. You don't need to make changes here. Just to make it Recoil exercise, and it will literally the name of the project. So I will try it one more time. Remember, if you see that I can access my previous rating commands, just need to press the up key. And it will keep the memory of the stuff that we just, for example, look, I can even see the one that we installed previously, the React YouTube component. In this case, I will start recoil. Now it's working because we don't see the crushing so fast. Meanwhile, we can start reading the documentation, getting started. So I'm creating a normal app, install recoil. And let's see the okay. We're going to explain these lines in a moment as soon as we know that this is installed. Perfect. So it's perfectly installed. Very, very nice. And let's go back to the code base source app.js. Perfect. And the first things it says is that we to make our project reactive, we need to wrap it up in a recoil root. So we are going to do that. That means that the elements that wants to be reactive needs to be wrapped up in this one. So there you go. I will put it in this one. Of course, if I pass the mouse, it says any. That means that this is not working. So I need to install my import recoil from recoil. Right now we are going to see the we're going for this exercise we're only going to see the atom and the use recoil state and recoil value. These are the equivalents of the getter and the setters in the hooks. So you will see that the syntax is quite similar. And then you can research about selector on your own. So let me delete the ones that we are not using. So we're only using recoil root on recoil. And this one will behave similar to the router DOM, that we wrap it up the entire project in the router, so the router knows which one is where to start the project. And if you're wondering, hey, what happens if I need a project that has recoil and router and React router at the top? Which do I put first between router? Do I do router or do I do recoil root first? The answer is, to be honest, it doesn't matter as long as, and this is the key, as long as there is never a piece of data like H1 floating around outside either of these two main components, then it will be okay to, I will close Slack and make noise. It's okay. So it doesn't matter if you put recoil first or recoil or rotor first, as long as there is no data or content outside of both, then it's okay. So, sorry, no, recoil root is not the one that I wanted to delete. I want to delete React router. There you go. So we wrap it up this into recoil, and let me put this one inside. No, this one is, I will delete this one. So my app is wrapped up inside recoil as required. Perfect. And now we're going to create an atom. And what is an atom? An atom is a piece of data, reactive data, that lives outside the components. And this is important because if it lives outside the components, that means that it can be imported from anywhere on the project. That's super important because the state that we were creating before was inside the component functions, and then if we create the hooks inside a function, that means that if we want to actually pass the information, we need to pass it as a props to the children. But with passing props like this, it means that if a piece of data is here, I cannot pass it to this component. I only can pass it to the components that are below the line. So a piece of data that is here cannot be shared here. It's impossible. You need to pass it up one more time, and then you can pass it down, and that's quite annoying. So what we're going to do is with the atom component. With the atom component is to let me pin this one as well. With the atom component, we want to create a file that hosts my information elsewhere, and we can import that particular file anywhere. And we're going to do that right now. So we're going to create a piece of state. And in this case, I will create a folder for the state. And you can have different files for different types of data. So for example, we can create in a project, we can say use a student profile. Imagine that this will be the SDA platform. Student profile GX will be all information in the state, all the reactive information that we want for the student profile, and one can be for the module. Imagine that when you access a module, we want to keep the information all the time. For example, we want to keep the color. So for example, if you are in the web development module that has a color blue, and you enter a coding exercise, we want to keep the coding exercise with a blue template as well. And if you go back to, for example, to watch a video in a video player inside the platform itself, it will also keep the blue color of the web development module because we have the information in a different piece of state. So you can have multiple files to organize your reactive data. And that will be a nice tip actually to try to avoid that everybody has access to modify your data at the same time. Instead of putting all your reactive variables inside one single file, you can divide your variables by category, and the categories will be the files that you can actually split up your project. And then not every single component subscribes to the same files, only to the ones that actually need access. But because this example is small, I will say just simple data state information. That will be the name of my file, state information GX, state information. And in state information, I need to create a atom. So content text state equal. So let me see. I will copy this one. And let's write it down here again. So constant text state. Text is the name of my variable. Text state equal an atom. An atom is the way that this is a special React hook for having these global state variables. You can see that it's a key value pair. And wrap it up inside the object. So this object has a key, and the value of the key is the name of the variable. In this case, this is the same. It's the same. Get the state, and then the default value. Default is empty, but we can start by saying hello if we want to. So this is literally key value. Perfect, we have it. And now how to import it? Let's see it. Inside this one, we need to import it. I'm pretty sure that this is a sport default, sport default text state. Perfect. And I will put it here on the right so we can debug it until we fix it. And we don't need to do anything more in the app because we are not importing in the app. We're going to import it directly in the components. For example, let's say that C component is actually the most important one because this is the one that actually has the button to modify the state. So let's import. First, we'll need to import the recoil libraries. In this case, the libraries are these ones. We don't need to import recoil root because this is only used in the parent. We don't need. I think we need to select the recoil style. These two. Perfect. And we probably need to import. No, I don't think that we need this one. Even if it says any, I think that we can go without the import, and I will explain that later if it actually works. So in this one, we have the imported libraries, and we're going to need to start using it. And I need this is the recoil library, and this is my project state, external state. I will say global because this is the name that this is the convention that we use, global. And I will import state I will say it in, I will call it information. Information, because I don't want to use the syntaxes. So I will say information from slash double points because we're assigning the folder component, so we need to get to a state slash information. Perfect. Information GX just in case. No, I think it works without this one. To see that it's important correctly, we're gonna say console log here, console log information. Perfect. And let's see right now how, if it's working or not. Let me start the server again. I don't remember closing it, to be honest. So Atom is not defined in JS. Then that means that we actually need to import Atom here. So that's okay. We wanted to be sure. So yeah, import your libraries, guys. Reorder information, import in body of model, reorder to top, in body to top. And I think that you cannot put a console log before the import statement. There you go. Yeah, this mistake is crucial. You should see this error. The import statements always should be the first thing. So that's why as soon as you put in the console log, it crashes. So I can see that it's working now. Console information, perfect. Information. So we know that at least the file is working. And here, I think that I don't need the Atom anymore. And we're going to use this to access the information. So let's see, how do we do that? So now we created the Atom. We need to import it. So this, look at this syntaxes. 1 second. I think I need to fix information. 1 second. Yeah, okay. Okay, there is a mistake in this part. Information is the name of the file. This is the information. But to access this variable, I need to actually set text state. Text state. Yeah, text state. And I can say just export. I don't need export default. It's just export const. Perfect. And if I have a second variable, I just export const. Actually, let me create a second variable directly. Count state equal state equal Atom. Key count state and default equal 0. Perfect. And if I want to import the second one, I just do comma count state. You actually saw that we have the autocomplete because the machine understands the concept. And to use these variables, we use a modified version of the React hook because this is basically the stuff that we want to do. In this case, text is a getter, text and set text. And you recall the state, that's a state. And if you want to use the count, it's the same. Just do count and set count. Use recall the state, text state. Okay, there you go. And if everything goes well, crossing fingers, we can see the text here, and we can see here count. So let's cross fingers and see what happens. We can see hello here, and we see hello here, but we wanted to see count, so let's see what happens. Oh, because this one has to be count state. So okay, now we know that it's working. We have this hello, remember, is coming from this file. So we know that our component and our state are separated. Yesterday we were calling the state and the component as a single element, and it was easy to use. But the problem was that if you need to pass the information, it needs to be passed by dump as props. So let's repeat the same information with the other two components with text. Let me put it here, and we're gonna do the same. Import. We need to import the library from this one. We import recall the state. This one replaces. I will put the component. I will put the component in C, so you can use as a point of reference. This one replaces the normal React hook. Perfect. And I cannot put a comment on. I think I cannot put a comment on top of that, so I will put it below. Atom. Atom is our individual piece of reactivate data. There you go. Perfect. And this is the element. So and now I can copy this one to the B component. Perfect. I copy it, and then I will put my global state. Global state. This is the information itself. So import. I will make it for security issues. I will say that I will not want to import text state. I will only import count state here. Count state. From state / information. Perfect. And in the A component, I will do the opposite. I will just import this one. This is a recoil library, and this will be global component. And I will say import. I will say count state from in / state information. We're gonna use it and put it on the screen. Just 1 second. Adding recoil. No. I will close this one. We know that this one is working. We already saw it during the C component, and I will try to put the 3 components side by side. This is the B. Don't make me look bad. Yeah. Okay. No, definitely with the big font size, I cannot do the three panels at the same time, so I can only handle 2. And remember that C is the most important one, so C will be open all the time, and these 2 will switch back and forth. So in the A component, I need the hooks to put the hook in place, the special hook. So in this case, I only will use count, and set count. No, I don't want this one to modify the data. I just want to visualize it from here. So I will say count equal user recoil state text state count state. Remember, this one is the name of the getter, and this one is linked to this one. Perfect. And I will say I will put a special p tag just to the count, to put the coding count. There you go. And in B component, I want to put it right here in the middle. I will put this. We say that strong. That was a tag, right? Let me see. Yeah, HTML tag. Yeah. And we'll say count state. Sorry, we need to import the hook. There you go. We need to counts. This one has count state. Oh, this also has a count state. No, we want text state here. Text state. So counts text equal use recall stale text state. And this one will be text. And let's see if it's working. We load from a component. 0, hello, hello. Perfect. So far, so good. And now let's see if we can actually modify something from clicking here and reflect the changes across components. So let's try to do that from the C. We know that this one is the important one. So from here, we're gonna use, let's see, on click equal function. We don't need the curly braces inside because we are gonna use set count to I think I can make an operation, mathematical operations here. But right now, I will change it to 500 before I try to make the infinite clickable map. And so right now, if I click here, and it changes here as well. So yeah, that was a small example. Let me show you the graph what we just actually achieved. When I press a button, I change a variable here, and automatically I'll update here and here, and it works quite nice. Recoil. If you learn how to use Hook in the previous days, you can realize that inside here, the setup is quite similar. So instead of using use state, you use recoil still. It's just one more word, but the syntax is. You can see that here the syntax is 100% identical to the official React hooks. Here the change is equal as well. You need to do this only to a small preparation work that is creating this information on JavaScript file. But it's quite nice, to be honest. I really like it, this library. I haven't used it in like 2 months, to be honest. I forgot how to write it. That's the reason that I was a little bit clumsy during this tutorial. But as you can see it, just by reading documentation, we were able to assemble a nice example, quite an easy, quite fast. So,
Eduardo, can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
So first one is, this is almost identical to the use context hook that's built into React. What would be the benefit of using this over the built-in use context one? Because it works exactly the same by wrapping the components, etc., etc. And my second question is, can you use something similar to a reducer in this like you would in use context?
Okay, good question. For the first one, the problem with the context API, for example, I see it is that you actually need to handle different pieces of state. Let me go back to the app component, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Please, I want to be sure of. Each time that you want to handle a different piece of state, you need to create a different wrapper. Is that the case? Because I seen a couple of the context API having like 3 levels deep of nesting. So for example, that if we were talking about text state was text state, and then if I wanted to have the context state, it was something like that, context state.
There is a way to sort of cheat that system by creating just one and then having a massive object with a lot of states in it, but obviously that's not ideal. So
yeah, as you said, that was a cheat, and I remember that when I was creating this one, I was telling you can actually have a file for the students, a file for the module in the SDA, and a file for teachers, and that keeps the project clean. Because if you have one context API root instead of multiple ones, as it's supposed to be, that's how it was designed for. If you have your way around, you have a messy file. Imagine that multiple developers are working on a project and trying to working as only one file. That file becomes as a source of conflict. And imagine a Git merge conflict because everybody is working in that file. And imagine that I am in around line 800, and I refactor my project a lot, and now the project becomes way smaller. And then somebody is in line was in line 900, now it's in line 700, even before where I was in the beginning of the project. So everybody's committing at the same time, and it's a merge conflict. I know that merge conflicts are not the death of a project. I don't imply that. I'm trying to say is that that's a hack, and it is sometimes it actually makes you regret making a hack. So that will be one. And the reducer, can you refresh me? This one is when
So reducer, instead of just having like set state, because you have your value and you have the method you use to update the value.
Mhm.
So the reducer is almost like a switch statement that you can use to do different things to the state. So if you click a button, then maybe the counter will go up, but you have another button that you can press and the counter will go down. And you have another button that will change the color of the counter. So, but it's all built into sort of like one function. And I know that's like part of the normal use context. So I'm not sure if Recoil has something similar.
let me see. Maybe the selector is one something like that. So, for example, if I say this one, I don't know if it's the same thing, but the selector allows you to perform some logic before you get the getter. So before you return the value, allows you to perform some logic. So, for example, this time I'm writing in the box, and one variable is cloning the value, is syncing the value, and another one is counting how many characters I'm typing, because it's returning the other variable dot len. Is something like that?
I think I don't understand well enough to say it's exactly the same, but I think it's similar, because the whole idea of a reducer is to have more logic when updating a state. So that seems similar in that sense then.
Yeah, I hope that can help. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, that's well. Remember, Recall appeared in this year. So if there is some functionality missing, it doesn't mean that it will never have it. It's, remember, you cannot expect the same functionality of a product that has 3 years in the market versus one that just released this one. So
and then
I think that whatever you did you can do in the context API, Recall will be able to do it as well.
And then one last big question. This is coming from someone who has never used Redux in his life. How does this compare to Redux in terms of function?
You have no idea. Remember, I have used Redux only once in one project, and it was terrible. The boilerplate that you need to build for the most simple stuff is outstanding. Yeah. Let me tell you, I really believe that the building the YouTube project is in setup time, without counting the CSS, because the CSS takes time, but without counting the setup, the CSS, I really think that the YouTube site, the example that we did on Tuesday, is shorter than setting up a real project in Redux. Redux is horrible, to be honest, and luckily it's not the way out. You will only use Redux right now if there is a legacy application that has Redux. Right now, what people want to use an official library for global state is the Context API, and I believe that Recall quite soon will become the official one.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. More questions? Of course, I will upload this project as soon as we finish. There is no question about that. But remember, this is an optional technology. It's not something that you need to complete any project that we have seen during this week. It's something extra to know. That was important enough to not make it optional. So if we don't have any more questions, then, oh, okay. No, there was one question that I saw it during the break, so I will answer it right now. I have a doubt about React hook and state. Okay, I will need more clarifications, but I can say that state is information and hook is the way that you manipulate it. But please go ahead, Halima, and expand your question, because this is the time to ask questions about this kind of stuff. So please go ahead and expand the topic so I can answer it. Is she still here? I don't know because I see less people than before. Oh, well, sorry. I was willing to answer the question, you know that, but yeah. So she's not there, but in any case, if somebody has a question about React hooks and states and why I actually, sometimes I say hooks and then sometimes I say state, I will need to clarify. I will clarify it like literally by using a fishing example. This circle is my data, and the data is called a state because the difference between a data and a state is that the state, we are expecting that the state can mutate and every is reflected across the project. And the hook.
I don't think you're sharing your screen.
Oh, I am not sharing the screen. Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry. All right. Cool. Thanks.
So yeah, the difference. I was writing the circle, and this is my state. And the difference with when I say data, data is something that I create a constant, and I create a value. I modify it, and I know that it will not reflect the changes immediately in the components, like in real time that we do with hooks. So state is a piece of data that is supposed to be reactive. That's the first definition. The second definition is hooks. Hook. Hook is the term that Facebook uses to create a special getters and get and set methods to modify this state. So the hook is a tool to modify the state, and the state is the information itself, the data itself. So sometimes I use it interchangeably. I say hooks instead of a state and so on and so forth. It's because they are so related that they work, they go together, but they're different information. The hook is a tool to modify the state, and the state is information in itself. So in analogy, this will be like the fishing, and this will be the fish. But you know there is a super difference between the both. So yeah, that will be the answer. I hope that she was there to give this answer, but that will be the answer in case somebody has a doubt. And if there is no more questions, we can finish for today. And I don't think that we need a lecture tomorrow, but if people write me today and I see that there is a couple of doubts regarding the YouTube project, I can make another short session just to answer questions, but write me directly to see if I see the demand is big enough to assemble a small 1 hour lecture like this one. No, this was not a 1 hour. Oh no, yes, it was almost a one. No, it was 2 hours. Because we started late. We started 9:30. Yeah, but for me this one was the shortest ever. So
Yeah.
that's what I meant. So yeah, write me to see if we need an additional lecture, because we always plan to have a buffer, because the topics from JavaScript were moving to 1 week ahead. So to be honest, it was nice to have extra time instead of having less time. So write me to see if there is a demand for something tomorrow. And otherwise, hey, we actually never did a goodbye for the lecture. Well, that will be on Friday when we do the optional lecture about Firebase, in case somebody's interested. And I will post a link now that we mentioned about Firebase. I will add a couple of links for preparation in case that you plan to go to that lecture. That lecture is probably gonna be a bit longer because Firebase is a big topic. So it's impossible to cover in 1 hour if we want to do a coding exercise. So yep, that will be it. And good luck with the projects. I will be around, by the way, in Slack. So don't worry about that.
Right.
See you.
Thanks, Eduardo.
Thank
see
you.
in a bit.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.